Hey there, my fellow garden lovers. If you're someone who feels most alive with your hands in the soil, who finds a quiet kind of joy in watching something tiny grow into something beautiful, and who believes a garden is good for the soul, no matter your age, then you are exactly who I made this video for. Whether you've been growing things since before your kids were born, or you're just rediscovering your green thumb now that life has slowed down a little, welcome home. This is Pure Garden,
where we believe great gardens don't need big budgets or young knees. All you need is a little know-how, a few things you already own, and a love for growing that never gets old. Stay with me, because today I'm walking you through 25 brilliant garden ideas that were made with you in mind. And if you enjoy this, go ahead and tap subscribe right now so you never miss the next one. All right, let's dig in. Tip 1. Old wooden crates as raised garden shelves. Let's kick things off with something simple and satisfying. You know those old wooden crates? The ones from the back of the garage, or maybe the ones your local grocery store is happy to give away for free? Don't toss them. Stack 2 or 3 of them up against the wall or garden fence and fix them in place with a couple of screws or some garden wire. Just like that, you've got yourself a set of rustic, charming shelves. Line them with your favorite potted herbs, a few small flower pots, or even your garden tools. And here's why it's perfect for us. Everything is at arm's reach. No bending, no strain, no hunting around on the ground. Just reach, place, and enjoy. That one small change can make your garden feel less like work and more like the peaceful place it's supposed to be. Tip 2. Old cake tins as bird baths. Now, let's head to the kitchen for a moment. Do you have an old round cake tin sitting in the back of the cupboard? Maybe a bit scratched? Maybe it hasn't seen a birthday cake in years? Perfect. Sit it on top of an upturned terracotta pot, a thick tree stump, or even an old step stool, and you've just built a bird bath. Fill it with clean water and drop a flat stone in the middle so small birds have something to stand on. Then find a shaded, quiet spot for it in your garden. Within days, you'll have sparrows, robins, and all sorts of little visitors splashing around. And honestly, for those of us who enjoy a cup of tea in the garden, there's nothing quite as calming as watching birds go about their morning. It costs nothing, and it brings your garden to life in a way no plant can quite match. Tip 3. Old colanders as hanging planters. Still in the kitchen, this time we're looking at those old metal colanders you no longer use. The ones with 100 little holes all around them. Well, those holes, they're perfect drainage for plants. No drilling, no fussing. Just line the inside with a small piece of burlap or coconut fiber matting, pour in some potting compost, and tuck in a trailing flower, some ivy, or a few herbs. Attach 3 lengths of garden chain or rope and hang it from a porch hook or a garden beam. You've got yourself a vintage-style hanging planter that looks like it came from a proper garden center, and it cost you absolutely nothing. It keeps everything up off the ground, too, which is always a win for our backs and knees. Tip 4. An old walker as a mobile potting station. Now this one is a bit special. If you've got an old walking frame in the house that's no longer being used, don't let it gather dust. Lay a wooden board or a sturdy tray across the top bars, and you've created a mobile potting bench. It's the perfect height to work from while seated. It wheels right out to wherever the sun is shining. You can keep your small tools, seed packets, and plant labels right on top, and hang gloves or twine from the lower bars. It's one of those ideas that's both clever and a little touching. Something that once helped someone get around is now helping things grow. And in a way, isn't that exactly what gardening is about? Finding new life in things we thought were finished. Tip 5. Old wooden shutters as vertical garden frames. Old window shutters. You've seen them at car boot sales, propped up at the back of sheds, or going for almost nothing at charity shops. They might be faded and chipped. Buy them anyway. Stand them upright against a fence or wall, give them a coat of weather-resistant paint if you fancy a refresh, and you've got an instant vertical garden feature. Thread small terracotta pots through the slats, attach hooks for hand tools, or let climbing plants like sweet peas weave up and through. This tip is brilliant if your garden is on the smaller side, or if crouching down to ground level beds has become less than comfortable. Everything stays at eye level, which means you can actually stop and appreciate it properly, rather than bending over it. Tip 6. Plastic milk crates as stackable raised beds. If bending and digging have started to take the fun out of gardening, this one is for you. Milk crates, the sturdy plastic kind, make excellent little raised garden beds. Line the inside with an old pillowcase or some landscape fabric, fill it with good compost, and plant your tomatoes, salad leaves, or strawberries. Stack 2 or 3 on top of each other, and suddenly you've got a garden bed at counter height. No stooping, no kneeling, no sore backs the next morning. They're light enough to shift around when the sun moves, and they look surprisingly good on a patio or balcony. If space is tight, but your appetite for growing isn't, this is the answer. Tip 7. Glass jars as evening garden lanterns. This one is pure magic, and I mean that. If you've got old glass jars sitting around, jam jars, pickle jars, mason jars, anything with clear glass, don't recycle them just yet. Drop a battery-operated tea light inside, or coil a small string of fairy lights in there, and hang them from low tree branches, fence hooks, or garden posts. Set a few along your garden steps or beside an outdoor seat. When the sun goes down and those little lights glow warm through the glass, your garden transforms. It feels softer, quieter, more magical. For those of us who enjoy a little time outside in the early evening, it also makes it easier to see where you're going. Beautiful and practical. That's the best kind of idea. Tip 8. Old cutlery as personalized plant markers. Got a drawer full of mismatched cutlery? A spoon without a partner? A fork that's seen better days? An old butter knife nobody wants? And don't throw them away. Give the handle a gentle tap with a hammer to flatten it out. Then, write the name of your plant on the metal with a permanent marker. Paint it with a lick of nail varnish if you want it to last even longer. Then, push it into the soil next to your basil, your marigolds, your tomatoes. It adds personality. It adds charm. And for those of us who sometimes forget what we planted where, it's genuinely useful too. The garden tells a bit of your story, and that's never a bad thing. Tip 9. Old teacups as miniature planters. Back to the kitchen one more time. Cracked teacups, mismatched saucers, the ones too pretty to throw away but too damaged for a proper tea tray. They make the most wonderful little planters. Fill each one with a pinch of compost and tuck in a small succulent, a miniature pansy, or a sprig of thyme. Set them out on a garden shelf, along a porch railing, or on a tray beside your favorite outdoor chair. No heavy lifting, no deep digging. Just little touches of color and life exactly where you want them. And there's something lovely about it, isn't there? A teacup that once held your morning brew, now holding a living thing. Small joy, real joy. Tip 10. Old picture frames as living garden art. Here's one I absolutely love. Those old picture frames in the charity shop bin, the ones with worn edges and no glass, they are not junk. Give them a fresh coat of paint, something cheerful or something soft, and hang them on the fence, lean them against a wall, or mount them on a gate. Just like that, they frame a patch of climbing flowers, a wall of greenery, or a bed of blooms, like a piece of living art. You can also stretch some chicken wire across the inside and grow beans or sweet peas right through it. Art that you grew yourself. I think that's rather brilliant. Tip 11. An old ladder as a tiered plant stand. An old wooden ladder that's no longer safe to climb is still perfectly useful in your garden. Open it up in a sunny corner, wedge it steady, and start placing pots on each rung. Herbs on one level, flowers on the next, maybe something trailing and spilling over the side. Hang a wind chime or a small lantern from the very top if you like. Everything sits at a comfortable height, easy to water, easy to enjoy. And for those of us who spent decades being useful and sturdy, there's something a bit poetic about giving an old ladder the same second chapter. Tip 12. A vintage sink as a statement planter. This one might raise an eyebrow the first time you hear it, but stay with me. An old porcelain or enamel kitchen sink, the kind you find at yard sales or reclamation yards, makes an absolutely stunning planter. It's deep, it's got built-in drainage, it's practically indestructible. Sit it on a couple of bricks or an old frame to bring it up to a comfortable working height. Fill it with compost and grow herbs, salad leaves, or a riot of summer flowers. The charm it adds to a garden is extraordinary. There's something about growing food in something that once sat at the heart of a family kitchen that just feels right. Strong, useful, and better with age. Sound familiar? Tip 13. Old drawers as layered flower beds. If you've got an old chest of drawers falling apart, don't take the whole thing to the tip. Pull the drawers out first. Line each one with some plastic sheeting. Poke a few holes for drainage, fill with compost, and plant. Stack them in a staircase arrangement for a layered display that's easy to tend at different heights. Pansies in one, strawberries in another, fresh herbs in a third. It looks wonderfully loved, that charming kind of shabby chic that no shop can replicate. And for older gardeners, having everything at a comfortable reach makes all the difference between a hobby that still brings joy and one that started to feel like hard work. Tip 14. A pegboard as a vertical garden organizer. Remember pegboards in the old workshop? They're just as useful in the garden. Mount one to the side of your shed, on a garden wall, or fixed to a sturdy fence post. Add hooks and pegs and hang your gloves, hand tools, twine, and small pots of herbs all in one neat, visible place. No rummaging in drawers, no bending to pick things up off the ground. Everything is right there at eye level, ready to go. For anyone whose hands don't quite have the patience for hunting through a toolbox anymore, this is a small change that makes every single gardening session just a little bit easier. Tip 15. Old shower curtains as garden backdrops. I know. A shower curtain in the garden sounds a bit odd. But hear me out. An old plastic shower curtain, especially one with a bright or cheerful print, can be clipped along a fence, stretched between two posts, or hung behind your garden bench. It hides any ugly corners. It blocks a bit of wind. It adds color to a dull wall. And because they're waterproof by design, they handle the weather just fine. For those of us who love a quiet outdoor space for reading, resting, or simply being alone with a cup of something warm, a shower curtain can create a surprisingly lovely little nook, a private corner of the world that's entirely yours. Tip 16. Old suitcases as storytelling planters. This one is for the sentimental gardeners among us. That old suitcase in the attic, the one that's been on trains and through airports and held your clothes for holidays you'll never forget, it still has a life left in it. Drill a few small drainage holes, line the bottom with fabric, add compost, and plant it up with herbs, trailing flowers, or leafy greens. Leave it open on a garden bench or lean it against a wall. The worn leather and the scuffed corners don't take away from it. They add to it. A garden isn't just about growing plants. It's about growing stories. And this one tells a very good one. Tip 17. Salvaged fence panels for a quiet corner. Sometimes you just want a corner of your garden that feels like yours alone. Old fence panels, even battered ones from the tip or a neighbor's skip, can be propped up around a bench or patio chair to create exactly that. Secure them with garden stakes and let climbing plants, morning glory, clematis, or runner beans weave their way through the gaps. In a few weeks, what started as an old fence became a living green wall, a private, shaded retreat for the hottest part of the afternoon. For those of us who treasure a bit of quiet in the garden, that's worth its weight in gold. Tip 18. Old curtain rods as plant support stakes. Here's a surprising one. Those old curtain rods stacked in the spare room, even the slightly bent ones, are exactly what your tall plants have been asking for. Push them gently into the soil beside your dahlias, tomatoes, or climbing peas. They're the perfect height, easy to handle, and often come with decorative tops that add a little unexpected elegance to your garden beds. No hammering, no heavy work. Just push them in and tie your plants loosely to them. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones sitting right there in the house, waiting to be useful in a whole new way. Tip 19. Enamel trays as wall-mounted herb gardens. Those old enamel or metal serving trays, the ones you used for biscuits or tea time, can go on the garden wall and become the most practical little herb garden you've ever had. Mount the tray flat against a fence or wall, fill it with small pots or line it with coconut fiber and plant directly into it. Basil, thyme, rosemary, sage, whatever you love to cook with, growing right at arm's reach. It stays tidy, it stays off the ground, and every time you walk past it, you'll catch the scent of something wonderful. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel like you've really got your garden sorted. And honestly, you have. Tip 20. Old picture frame glass as a mini cold frame. If you've kept old picture frames with the glass still in them, don't let them sit in the garage forever. They're perfect for creating a cold frame, a simple little structure that traps warmth and protects tender young plants from spring chills or autumn frosts. Hinge the glass frame to a shallow wooden box, or place it flat over a raised bed, like a lid. Inside, your seedlings stay cozy and protected, while everything else is still braving the weather outside. For those of us who know the seasons like old friends, there's a real satisfaction in helping something fragile get exactly the right start. Patience, care, a little shelter. It works for people too. Tip 21. A wine rack as a vertical planter display. Got an old wine rack somewhere in the house? Slide small terracotta pots or glass jars into each slot. Plant them with succulents, small herbs, or bright little annuals, and you've got a compact, elegant planting display. Stand it against a wall, set it on a patio table, or hang it from a fence. Everything is off the ground, organized, and absolutely beautiful. And there's something quietly lovely about a wine rack that now holds flowers instead of bottles. Life changes. Tastes change. But the pleasure of having something beautiful close by never does. Tip 22. Concrete blocks for a modular garden build. Leftover concrete blocks aren't rubble. They're building blocks for a very clever garden. Stack them to create raised beds, low walls, or even a garden seat. The hollow centers are perfect for planting herbs or succulents. Fill them with compost, tuck a plant in, and watch them go. No nails, no digging, no complicated building project. You can rearrange them whenever you like, which means your garden can change with your needs without you having to start from scratch. For gardeners who want flexibility without heavy labor, it doesn't get much more practical than this. Tip 23. A corkboard as a living succulent wall. An old corkboard, the kind that used to hold recipes and reminders and school notes, can become one of the most striking things in your garden. Lay it flat, line it with landscape fabric, add a thin layer of compost, and press succulent cuttings in across the whole surface. Pin them in place with small staples or wire mesh while the roots take hold. Once they've rooted, hang it up like a picture. A living, breathing, growing piece of wall art. Succulents barely need any looking after. Just a little light and a gentle watering now and again. Which makes this the perfect project for anyone who wants something beautiful without it becoming another chore. Tip 24. A foldable clothes error for drying herbs. When harvest time comes, you want a simple, easy way to dry what you've grown. And that old foldable clothes error in the utility room is just the thing. Tie small bunches of rosemary, lavender, mint, or sage upside down using clothes pegs, and stand the error in a warm, breezy spot on the porch or patio. In a week or two, your herbs will be perfectly dried and ready for cooking, for teas, or for little homemade sachets that make the whole house smell wonderful. There's a real satisfaction in preserving what you've grown. It stretches your garden well into the colder months, like bottling a bit of summer to open whenever you need it. Tip 25. Old PVC pipe as a vertical growing tower. And finally, if you've got any leftover lengths of PVC pipe from a plumbing job, don't let them go to waste. Cut them into shorter sections, cap the base, drill a few drainage holes, and fill them with compost. Stack them on a wall, in a crate, or arrange them in a tower formation. Then plant strawberries, salad leaves, or herbs directly into the tops. They hold moisture well, they take up almost no floor space, and they bring everything up to a height that works for your body. High-tech gardening with no complicated technology. Just a bit of clever thinking and some pipe you already had at home. And that's it. 25 ideas. All of them are clever. All of them are kind to your body and your budget. And every single one of them was made with you in mind. Because gardening in this season of life isn't just about what you grow. It's about why you grow it. The fresh air, the quiet, the way your hands know exactly what to do in the soil. The satisfaction of looking at something beautiful and knowing you made it. Whether you try one of these ideas this weekend, or you've already got 3 of them in mind, I hope this gives you something to look forward to. If it did, please give this a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to Pure Garden so you never miss a thing. Until next time, keep growing, keep creating, and most of all, keep enjoying every single season, one bloom at a time.